Today we're going to be discussing something a lot more serious than anything I've ever talked about on the show. So let's just get right into it. The Smash community and the fighting game community in general, they need to grow up. They really do. It's gotten to a point where you have to make a change, or else this shit will not get any better. Any better. There's people that have been on here on YouTube asking, pleading for you people to change, giving you advice for you people to change. First off, major shout outs to probably one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, Event Status. That guy does more for the gaming community than anybody on this site ever will. He has done nothing but try and help you, give people news on what is going on, try to keep you informed, and people just don't listen. And this is what happens when you don't listen. This stuff happens. Now let's talk about the allegations. Now, eventually got up to the point where they all pretty much got banned. They all got banned from tournaments, as they should be. There's no tolerance for this kind of behavior. And it just brings up a bigger picture of just the fighting game community in general, where we need better conduct, we need better rules. We need better conduct, we need better rules. We also need people to take action. It won't get any better unless we improve how the community functions going forward. You already have people leaving the community due to this. You already have people, just completely turned off from all these games just from what's been going on. And if you see questionable acts being done at these events, speak out about it. Don't keep it bottled up for so long, because at that point, these people have already gotten away with so much stuff. And it's awful to think that they got away with this stuff for so long just because they were popular. And they didn't want to speak out because they're a popular figure in the community. That's not and never how it should be. Coming out about it now, it's already too late. They've already gotten away with all this stuff. But the main point is that we got these guys, we got them banned, thankfully. But it's just, this has been going on for so long. The effect this is going to have on the community is going to be, I'd say, unrepairable. The only way it's going to improve is we have clear, more professional rule sets and rules and regulations and a code of conduct for how people should act at these events. Like, I'm glad I stopped really following Smash about 3 or 4 years ago, because this would have hurt even more. I got into Smash with the Smash documentary. That's how I got into Smash. That's how I found out about competitive Smash. I watched that documentary and it inspired me to compete. And then I started competing back in, I want to say, 2014, 2015, when I started practicing so I could finally go to my first tournaments that following summer in 2015. And then, of course, in that process, I found out about a lot of these players and I started looking up to them. And they inspired me to get better, and I learned a lot from them. But now, after seeing who they are and who they really are, it's just very sad. The best thing you could do is make sure you act when you see something bad going on. If you see something and you think it's suspect, report it to somebody. If you get harassed in any sort of way by a top player, screw it if they're a top player. Report them. Don't hold it all in. I really don't want to see something like this happening again. I don't have, any power to say so. It could be going on right now for all I know. But bottom line, things have to change. If you want more information on everything that's been going on in the Smash community and the FGC in general, definitely go check out Main Event's video. I'll leave it down in the description below. So one of the most interesting stories to come out in this past couple of weeks is Xbox Live Gold potentially being free for the Xbox Series X. This could be huge. Now, you know how I am. I hate just paying for online in general, especially when the online services is crap anyway. Like, to be quite honest, something like Nintendo's online should still be free, but have the games, you know, the NES and Super Nintendo games, have that as a completely separate service. Don't make that part of the online subscription. That and cloud saving should also be free, just like how Microsoft does. I don't think you should tie important stuff to a subscription like online multiplayer, you know, gameplay. We already paid you $60 for these games. Now you want us to pay another paywall in order to actually access a part of that game we just bought. The thing with Xbox is that they have this Game Pass Ultimate program where you sign up and pay $15 a month to, of course, access all the games that are already on Game Pass. The cool thing about that is that you actually get access to new games as they release. Now, personally for me, I wouldn't really, you know, buy into this because I buy every game that I could possibly get physically. So for me, it doesn't really benefit me, but somebody like my brother who doesn't really have the time to really buy physical games like that, just really wants everything on one system, it'll really benefit him because he wouldn't have to pay for online anymore. All he had to do was just pay for that Xbox subscription and that's it. Also, if they do make it free, you know, buying a game physically isn't going to hurt your wallet as much because if it's an online game, you don't have to pay an additional amount in order to actually play that game online. Now it'll be free. They're effectively trying to get rid of that paywall that everybody had to go through in order to play online. Now people are starting to speculate this due to you not actually being able to buy 1 year of Xbox Live Gold anymore. So overall for me this would be amazing because Xbox kind of started this trend of, you know, paying for online, and I thought it was, you know, bullshit back then because, you know, one thing I always broke up with my brother back in the day because I was on like PS3 and Wii and he was on 360. I was like, well, at least with Wii and PS3 you don't have to pay for online. And of course nowadays you have to pay for online. So if this starts a trend for where we're going back to not paying for online, I am fully down for that. Although this can also be a way for them to sell you Game Pass Ultimate because Game Pass Ultimate actually does come with gold. So time will only tell what they'll actually do. Now, of course, we had two events happen. There was a Nintendo Direct Mini where they had a bunch of third parties show off some games they had. And then there was also the Xbox showcase they had, the gameplay showcase. Let's talk about the Xbox one first. Let's talk about Halo. I think Halo looks good. I like how it's open world. I think that's, you know, very different from, you know, the previous Halo games. The Halo games, they've always, you know, been level by level type games. So far I really like that about this game. You know, this is like the one leg up that Xbox really has over the PS5 and that they're launching with their biggest franchise, which honestly should be how it is for every console launch from now on. I mean, yeah, Nintendo with the Nintendo Switch, you launched with Zelda, and you showed off that you're getting Zelda and a Mario in the same year. I just think that's how it should be. So I thought Halo looked good. There was also some other really cool looking games. I still like the Medium. Medium looks really cool. Actually, the thing I really like about the Medium is that it's using that next gen technology, but it's using it in a really interesting way with the actual technology of the system. So apparently they're rendering two different worlds at the same time, and the game's gonna be very different depending on, you know, which world you're in. They're even gonna have like different cutscenes for each specific world. I think that can really open the floodgates for really interesting puzzles and really cool just enemies and how you fight them, especially if it's seamless. So that game still looks really good. Probably one of the biggest problems with this conference is that, you know, a lot of these games, of course, aren't exclusive. They're all going to PC, but I guess that's how it is with Xbox. Especially, like I said, with the Xbox Live thing, you know, you get a console, right? You get their Xbox Series X, and you have to pay for online. Well, so you can just play all of these games that are already on Series X and just play them on PC, and you wouldn't have to pay for online. So maybe that's the path they want to go down, because that, you know, it definitely makes sense. Other games that were kind of interesting was that one game that came from the developers of the SteamWorld games. SteamWorld games are probably some of the most consistent games of any indie game series. And the thing about them is that they have different genres. They're not just one specific genre, and they're their series. You know, you have, of course, SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2. It's kind of like, I like to say it's like Dig Dug with a story, and Dig Dug's like my favorite arcade game of all time, so that's right up my alley. And then you have, this turn-based strategy game in SteamWorld Heist, and then you have this card-based, turn-based RPG with the SteamWorld Quest, I think it's called. They have a really good, wide variety under their belt in terms of what genres they can do. So I'm fairly confident the game's going to be good. I just really don't know what it plays like. That's another problem I had with this conference, is that a lot of the games actually did look interesting, but it's just they didn't have any real, set gameplay. Like, they had gameplay for, I think it was called Grounded. That was a game that I thought was really interesting. You play as like this small character in this like giant jungle, but it's not jungle, it's literally just the grass in your front yard or your backyard or whatever, and you have to make your way to your house. And I thought that was just a really neat concept, because I think I've seen that in a couple of actual cartoons, and to see that like used as a concept for a video game is really cool. So I would try out that game if I had an Xbox. But yeah, overall I thought it was okay. It wasn't amazing or anything. Like I said, the only leg up Xbox has over Sony at this point, because there hasn't been any price points yet, is them launch with Halo. Like, Halo had to look good, it had to be good for Xbox to really start off on a good foot this generation, or this next generation. I say it looks good. I'm not too shocked by it. It kind of reminds me of Doom a little for some reason. I feel like it almost seems like games are now trying to be. It almost seems like these first-person shooters are taking lessons from Doom, because Doom is like, what I say is like the best freaking first-person shooter in the last like 10 years. I'd say, like that and BioShock, like the original BioShock, like the two. Like those are the only two first-person shooters that I would ever like go out of my way to recommend to somebody. But anyways, I thought it was solid. It wasn't it wasn't horrible or anything. Just solid. But then we move on to Nintendo's third-party developer conference. They didn't really show anything that was of any interest, except for Shin Megami Tensei V is coming in 2021. That's going to be a 2021 game. We haven't seen anything about that game since the Switch reveal, so that was nice to see again. They also announced they're going to get an HD remaster of Shin Megami Tensei 3. So, you got some cool announcements there, but, not really too much. We're still waiting on that legendary Nintendo Direct to come out of the woodworks and shock us all, which I know it's going to be. But they also came out recently and said that their games were actually affected by the pandemic. And, before they said that, all their games that they had planned out in the immediate future weren't affected, but now they're starting to say they might actually be affected. So I'm kind of wondering what the lineup is going to be for this later half of the year. Honestly, after everything that I've talked about and everything that's been going on this year, I'm just ready for 2020 to be over with. Of course, we still have like 5 months left. It's just not been a very good year at all. It's been a pretty bad start to this whole decade. Really, I'm just waiting for like that Doom Eternal Switch port that they said they were going to announce like very soon. That's really what I'm waiting for. But yeah, other than that, that's all they really announced. I'm going to have 2 games for the game highlight section this week. 2 games I wanted to talk about were 2 fan games. First one being Oddity. It's pretty much acting like another edition in the Mother series, like Earthbound and Mother 3 and all that. And it's going to be a completely original game. There's going to be like hardly any, there's going to be like no like Nintendo ties to, the Mother series. Just really just building off the foundation that they had with the first 3 games and really just making their own thing. It looks fantastic. I love the art style. Everything about it just looks really good. Of course, the turn-based RPG. It has that, Earthbound and Mother weirdness to it. This is what I love about fan games and indie games. It gives you an alternative to, all these big budget games where you might be disappointed, and you get an alternative that actually delivers on what you want. But it seems to be so much more than that. And I can't wait to see, what happens when this game actually comes out. They revealed this game actually very early on in the year, you know, January 2nd, 2020. So far, it looks to be very promising. Second thing I wanted to mention was another Mother-related game. It's actually a remake of the first Mother game called Mother Encore. Now, this was a game I could never really get into. I don't know, maybe it's because it was just the art style or it was just like so old, I guess. I don't know. But when this game comes out, I'll definitely check it out because, you know, I want to play, you know, all of the Mother games. I still haven't even gotten around to playing Mother 3. I love freaking Earthbound. Like, that was a game that I couldn't really get into at first, but then I gave it another chance and I ended up loving it. So basically the purpose of this remake is to pretty much bring this old game into a, you know, Earthbound or Mother 3 type of art style, and they're calling this game a reimagining as well. They also said that this game shouldn't replace the original because they are going to do their own things in this game, especially with trying to connect Earthbound and Mother 3 to this game. So it's not going to be like 100% the original vision, it's more of a reimagining than a remake. And if you're a fan of this series, definitely check both these games out. Definitely check both of their trailers after this video. But that's it for this video. We talked about a lot of very serious things, and also, you know, of course, Xbox Live Game Pass, and talked about, you know, improving the community, we talked about improving the community, improving how we run these tournaments, and really just these tournaments and this fighting game community, they're part of the gaming community. They make us who we are. We have to set a good example for the community. We can't let, you know, these things happen and it just makes make the community look bad. We have to improve things. We have to get better. We can't just let these things just keep sliding by and letting them go like nothing happened, or else you get a situation like this again. Then we also talked about Xbox Live Gold potentially being free, which could be big. And then we also talked about, you know, of course, Mother and the Mother remake, and then the new game Oddity. Then we also talked about the Nintendo Mini Direct and the Xbox Showcase. That's it for me. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts on any of the things that I've talked about in this video. Again, major shoutouts to Event Status. If you want more information on that Smash situation and just the fighting game community in general over this past year, definitely check out his most recent video. I'll leave it in the description below. That's it from me, and I'll see you guys next time.